my friend, I would say again, I hope you would get a copy of my book, The Blossoming of Christianity, from the supernatural to the natural. It has all the information you need to get a good understanding of what I'm telling you here on these sessions about what we have to do in order to be in union with God. We have a job to do. We have to do something to assist God in bringing about a perfect social order, a kingdom of heaven here on earth. We have got to do something. We can't. Jesus said that, when he was talking to the people about the kingdom, he said, seek ye the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. But the thing to remember here is, Jesus said, seek ye the kingdom of heaven. So we have something to do. And now, I'm telling you that idea, all things are of God. You can't prove it, but you can't prove it's not. That is the idea that Jesus taught. And that is the idea that would serve as the foundation for a social order that's based on the premise that God is omnipotent, that he's everything. Every thought in your head, everything that you're doing right now, you're just separated from God because you don't accept that he's doing it. He knows that he's doing it, but you don't. You see? So see, you're living a lie, really. You're living in a lie. Until you can prove that God is not making everything that you're doing right now. That you somehow doing it on your own. I don't know how you imagine that you're doing it on your own, because the body that you got, you didn't give it to yourself. The day that you were born, you didn't make that. Even this day right here, even this second of the day. Tell me any one thing that you made. So the only thing is missing here is that you're separated from God. He knows that he's doing everything. So when the world accepts that idea, then that social order that would emerge, that idea will serve as a foundation for a social order. And that social order would be based on the premise that God is omnipotent. Everything belongs to him. Then we will work for him. You see, this is a whole different type of living arrangement. That idea changes the game. So you see, that's the first law. In seeking the laws, the righteousness, Jesus says, seek the kingdom of God and his righteousness, means, the righteous law. That is the first law. You got to get that law, the first law, that he's making all things. And then you see, as I said, when God gave that idea to Jesus, it came down to his mind that he's the maker of all things. And that is the idea that Jesus taught the world. Now, the idea is coming back. God gave it to me. And when he gave it to Jesus, he revealed to Jesus a lot of things about it, surrounding that idea. That's why Jesus was able to teach. And he's telling us about the wars and rumors of wars and all this going to occur. God had revealed that to Jesus. And he revealed a lot of things to me when he gave me that idea. And he's telling me that, sure, I spoke yesterday about the women in Proverbs. It said about the simple, a woman sit on the corner and said to the simple man to come in, and he doesn't know that her house lead into the grave where the dead are, and to the depths of hell. Well, see, this is one way that people are being put into captivity. But also, Jesus said that when a man and his wife, when a man and a woman marry, they're supposed to become as one flesh, So this is another way that people have been brought into a type of captivity. But see, what this is all about is, this is it's mentioned in the New Testament several times that the church is the body of God. The church is the body and Christ is the head. So see, the body has to have cells. And each one of those houses, each one of those units that these women are getting men into, this is a cell. But if you don't get into the body, and why the idea of all things made of God is the head, if you don't accept that, then you don't get into the body. That is the Lamb Book of Life. If you're not written in the Lamb for the life, which means that you hadn't accepted the idea of all things of God, then you're not in the Lamb book of life. You're not in union with God. Because see, He's making all things. That's all that ideal professes. That God is all things. That He's omnipotent. That He's all-encompassing. That's all that idea of. But it gives us the presence of God. You see, that's God's presence. I am the maker of all things. That's Him. He's speaking. And if you can't prove that He's not, you better listen to God's word. Listen to His voice. What else could that voice be? I am the maker of all things. God is the maker of all things. That is a statement. You see, if you can't prove He's not making all things, then we have got to accept that as His presence. That's Him saying that. That's Him saying that. You see? So you better stop and listen. And there's consequences if you don't accept it. You know, there's consequences. God has revealed to me a lot of things, like He did Jesus. See, this is a body. Now, you got other bodies out there. As I mentioned yesterday, you got the apes, and all these different animals. See, God give us a picture right there out there in front of us. We can see what He's doing. You know, why is it that the monkey is not like man? Because God loves man. Something happened at the genetic level. We don't know what it is, but those genes know. You know, and then when the gene was building things, just like the families now, these women got all these people, these houses. You know, they're building things. You see, when the genes were building things, the genes that went into the building of human beings, they had gone on a different principle, a different law than the genes that manifest, you know, that built the pig or the cow or the bird or the monkey. They were doing a different thing. If they were doing the same thing that the genes were doing that made my body, then they would be just like my body. But they were doing something different. Now you see, God is saying, if you miss this boat, well, I have, you know, the body, and you got to accept me, God said, that I'm all encompassing, so you can't even come near me. Then you'll wind up at another level, because this thing go on for eternity. We don't know when they're going to manifest. When those genes was coming together to making all this life form that you see on the planet. Oh, can you imagine atoms, little atoms, a little small atom? You can't even see one. But yet it has made this great big body. You see? But at the time when they were first forming all that, those genes going in different systems. You know, they didn't know what they were going to manifest into millions and millions of years. Because it's been that long since they started that. But now they see. And that cells and atoms and things that have made human beings, they can look out on another world. Okay, that's what happened to those genes. They put it in the wrong place. Oh, look at that cat. That's what happened to that bunch of family that went in the wrong place. You can't see it now. But see, if you don't come in on God's system, you're going to wind up outside, allegorically, like the animals of the tree or something like that. So you see, God has power. He's not pleading. You have got to do this. If you don't, you're going to miss the boat. So I'll talk a little bit more about that, what God has shown me. You see, when He gave me that idea. What I need to tell you, Jesus was very kind and nice, but I'm afraid I'm not like that. I'm God's son, but I'm different. See, I'm the bad one. Jesus was the good one. I'm telling you with fire what you got to do. You see, you better listen, because when there's gonna come a time when God's gonna judge you, and He's gonna know exactly what you was doing this very day. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. What God has given me is bring to you. All right, we'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow.